Welcome to the 2022 Women's Leadership Forum, co-hosted by the Women's Leadership Network and Global Women Connect. The theme of this year's forum is rewriting the rules. On the registration form, we asked each of you to write down what this meant for you. And I wanted to share the results with you. The top 3 words that you wrote were innovation, courage, and breakthrough. We're so happy to see such bold and powerful words. When we were planning the forum, we had 3 main goals. One was to build the confidence of women. Second was to rewrite our narrative. And third was to inspire to action. Throughout life, we have had various rules put on us about how women should think, look, and behave. And through the stories of and experience sharing of our guest speakers today, we hope to build the confidence of everyone here. We have unique strengths and skills that make us great leaders, especially in the fast-changing post-pandemic world. Secondly, we want to rewrite the narrative. Too often, women are portrayed as victims, and instead, we want to highlight how we can work together with men or other groups across gender and other identity categories to improve the workplace and beyond. Most importantly, we want everyone to not just leave the forum today feeling inspired, but waking up tomorrow going back to their life in the status quo, but rather to start making concrete changes. We need courage to change, and we need to take action to create innovation. The rules aren't going to rewrite themselves, so let's get to work. Speaking of work, the forum could not have happened without the hard work of a great team, and I just wanted to take a few quick seconds to recognize them. Stella Jin, Vice President, and Lorraine Lee, Treasurer of the Women's Leadership Forum, Polly Ng, CEO, Belinda Xu, COO, Johanna Yao, and Lydia Liu of Global Women Connect. And thank you to Kelly Kwong, MBA 2023, Chris Wang of the MBA office, and Cindy Wu from MBA Marketing, of course. Thank you to all our speakers and business leaders today for giving us your time. So now, without further ado, let us proceed to the first event of our forum, which is the Fireside Chat with Xiangwei Gong, Asia President of AptarGroup, and our moderator, Polly Ng, CEO of Global Women Connect.
Thank you, Yang Yang. Good day, everyone. People know me that I found Global Women Connect, GWC, because I believe in the potential of women. And also through diversity and inclusion, we can make a much bigger impact together. In addition to this not-for-profit organization, my business role as the president and CEO of PwC Group, which develops and provides AI technologies and solutions for our offshore agriculture. Today, I'm very lucky and honored to have this keynote conversation with our VIP guest, Xiangwei Gong. Let me have a quick introduction about Xiangwei first. I got to know Xiangwei around 2 years ago when GWC was organizing a responsible leadership workshop series. She is very supportive and passionate about responsible leadership, diversity and inclusion, sustainability, and most of all, she put all this into action. To me, Xiangwei is a global citizen and a global leader because before her current role as the Asia President and Global Executive Board member role with AptarGroup, she has been business leader in different continents, including US and also Europe. So we become friends and get to know each other more. After that, I'm actually very impressed by her because I found that Xiangwei is a dynamic and passionate leader. She's firm, but yet she's a humble leader as well. I believe her values, life attitude, and also her global experiences said a lot about us. With pleasure today, we can hear more about her life story and what drives her as a woman to live her life journey through. So let's welcome Xiangwei Gong. Hello, Xiangwei.
Thank you so much, Polly. It's really my honor to be here. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon.
All right, Xiangwei, I have a question to begin with. I know that you never plan your life and your career path, but you have such a big achievement. Well, I hate to say that, but as a woman, an Asian in China, it's not so easy. So can you let us know or share with us, how did you achieve that? I'm sure the participant will be interested to gain some practical insights from you.
Thanks, Polly. You know, where I am, I'm executive. I'm president of AptarGroup, which is a publicly traded company in New York Stock Exchange, and I'm a member of the executive committee. So in the maybe corporate definition, I'm kind of successful. But I'm sure you're also familiar with this imposter syndrome. It's almost like, really, me? You think I'm successful? So even today, I think that way, believe it or not. So when you invite me here to speak, it's like, well, you should have a big shot. Why me? It's just me. Really, this is how I really feel. Because it happened over time. It's not like you planned that many years ago you're going to be like doing this today and talking about why and how I got to where I am. But on the other hand, I do say that there are a few things that probably attributed to where I am. I think I really care. I think we talk about leadership. So leadership is something that can be nurtured, but I also think that it could come just with you in a very natural way. You don't need to be the president of something to be considered a leader. It could be that in any situation that is ambiguous and that is unclear whether this is something that he should do or she should do, and you step up and you lean in, and because you care. Whether this is with family, whether it's when you go to college, there's shared work in the roommates, they're roommates, right? So there is something you should do, I should do, and very often there are things that nobody wants to do. And so when you step up, when you lean in, you say, I will do it. So I was the dorm leader of my dorm in college. And that is actually really a kind of leadership. It shows you care. So I think throughout my career, I think there are many, many situations where I actually really shared that I actually cared. I cared about the team. I cared about the results. I cared about the customers, the companies. So, and when you care and then you can, and you are not afraid of taking responsibility, and sometimes you stick your head out. You say, I'll do it. If it goes wrong, it's me. If it goes well, it's the team. So I think these are probably a few practical things that I do. And then I think also, when we talk about the lean in, I always refer to the time when I, in my very, very first breakout of a breakthrough of my career, this was in 1993. When I read in Switzerland that Roche and Ciba-Geigy at that time, Ciba and Sandoz, these three giant pharmaceutical companies in Basel in Switzerland, on the newspaper, they said they want to go to China and they want to really, really grow in that market, and they want to work on the market, go-to-market strategy. So it was a newspaper, and I just finished my German study, and I wrote to Roche with just a letter to whom it may concern. And I introduced myself and I said, I can help you. I read your newspaper article and I think I can help you achieve your strategy. And they interviewed me and they hired me. So that's how I launched my career. So when I think back, had I never done that to take that step forward, then I probably would have a different career and a different life. So this is really just one example of sometimes I really take steps forward, I lean in, I put my head out, and I don't think about consequences, and also have the courage to be rejected.
talk about a few perspectives, which is so important. You mentioned about care, to not afraid, but bold. Take step forward and believe that you can do that. So I really like that. Maybe you can share with us, what is the biggest impact that you think you have contributed and or you have made in your life journey? And does any of this attribute contribute to the impact?
You live your life in an unreserved way. That's how I live my life. I'm all in. I'm passionate. I'm fully committed. I'm all in, and everybody sees that. And so when I'm doing that, I'm actually not thinking about leaving impact. It's just me. It just happened. So on the other hand, I also really get powerful feedback that makes me feel very much empowered. So as an example, when my daughter, I have a daughter and a son. When my daughter was little, she was about 10, and all her way till she was 10 at that time, of course, I always try to point her to role models and look to that person, and to achieve great things and all that. And one day she just said, Mom, I just want to be like you. So that was like really a great feedback and powerful, empowerment and inspiring actually. And my son said similar things. This was one of my goals in life, that my kids, not only they like me, but also their friends like me. So normally when you have kids, when they want to introduce the mom to their friends, then you know that you actually are not too bad as a parent. If your kids, they want to avoid you when they have friends come in, then it's something to reflect. Okay, so on my children, I really do think that I have made a positive impact, and they turn out to be really great, kind and healthy and bright, and I learned a lot from them. And even if quantitatively I spent very little time with them, I spent far more time on work than on my kids. But I guess they saw me as a role model. So, and then of course, I know I have impact on other people because they tell me. So even recently, I was, because there is this event and there is something else, and people saw it in the moment in social circle. And some people wrote to me, like some people who haven't been in touch for years. And one gentleman, he wrote to me, I was like, I felt so humbled. And he actually said, "Congratulations, Xiangwei, blah, blah, blah." And then he said, you are such a fearless leader. And I want you to know that when I'm in fear, I think of you. So I was like, I felt really amazingly humbled by that. And it's because we did a workshop together. He was a facilitator with my team. He was facilitator, me and my team doing our workshop because he saw how I was with my team. I'm all in, and he saw that. Normally when you have workshops, you have stresses and challenges, and you're always doing team building to try to overcome those challenges and to get better as a team. But I guess through that interaction, he just saw that I was all in, and that's it. I don't remember myself in that situation, but he remembered.
You never think about creating impact. You think about more about creating values and all you to do that. But actually, you did create impact and inspiration to other people. And I also got to know you. I also learned that not only you raise your children, they look up to you as a role model. You raise them in a way that they become who they are, be themselves and authentic. And also notice that, you're sharing with you. I noticed also you did that as an authentic leader as well in a town hall meeting, with hundreds of colleagues and other people. Maybe you can share more about this, why becoming yourself will be important and still, showing a role model for others.
why being yourself? So yeah, somebody said that because everybody else is taken. So everybody else is taken and you can only be yourself and be constantly strive to be the better version of yourself. And that's a lifelong journey and it's all worth it. So why is that important? Is that your question, or how? Why is that important? I really think it builds connection. It makes it real. It makes you real, because people see through when it's not real. People see through it's fake. People want to feel relatable. People want to feel that you're real, that you understand them. You're one of them. And I am. So, you know, I came from a small town. I grew up in the countryside, and I stayed with my Chinese name, even if it's very difficult for in the Western world. When I had the first English speaking, native speaking boss, they always say, "Oh, can I change your name to Sally or Sharon or whatever?" I said, "It's Xiangwei." And then he said, "Yeah, but that's so difficult." I said, "Yeah, but that's your problem." Okay, that I just stay that way. And sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. But you have to accept that. But I think people really appreciate you for you. It's a lifelong journey. It's not always easy because, of course, you're always afraid to be judged. Am I good enough? Yeah, that comes also. That comes with you for your whole life, throughout your life. And all you can do is to make sure, okay, I do my best. I give my best. That's what you get.
That comes to my next question. Am I good enough? Okay. But with that, I want to share a little story about Xiangwei. She recently did a very big town hall meeting. She's very authentic to herself, showing her some story about herself. She even got into tears in front of big leaders, hundreds of people. And Xiangwei told me that after that, other many leaders also wrote to her that, they think she's such a great leader. So being authentic doesn't mean that we are weak. Now, here comes to my second question, as you mentioned. Life is not always easy, or sometimes not always smooth. And that, well, we've all gone through ups and downs. So what is the biggest challenge that you have in life or at work? And how did you deal with that?
We have challenges all the time, right? So even before this meeting, I was discussing with a few colleagues about a deal, and you always have stresses and frustrations, and but on the other hand, I think anything at work, nothing at work compares actually with the stresses of a personal matter. So I think if you have a combination, if you happen to have a divorce and then big argument with your boss, then life is hell for sure. So if you don't like your job and your partner or betrayed by either one or both combined together, that's, I think, when life is at its worst. So I really would say that personally, when you lose a family member and you're far away, you cannot be with that family member. I'm a single mom. I raised 2 children almost by myself. So you often wake up in the morning and you have to think about what will be happening in the school and with the children. And when you have to travel, I will miss my daughter's 18th birthday or 8th birthday, or you have those kind of situations all the time. You just have to cannot whine, because it's a choice. Life is a choice. Once you made the choice, you just have to move on and make the best and be as transparent as possible. So I think I have made some tough choices in my personal life. But on the other hand, I think it's all rewarding. It all worked out. That's all I can share. It will take a long time to explain otherwise.
Life is full of choices. It's a matter of making choices and decisions.
Yeah.
That I believe in the same as well. And
maybe I can share a little story. Like I brought my daughter to America when she was 3, and she didn't speak English at all, and she spoke German. Her first language was Chinese. Her second language was German. But when she went to the U.S., she hasn't been with me for a while. So I was a strange mother, a strange person who is semi-familiar. And then I picked her up. I know in Switzerland, I brought her to the US, and we spent Saturday together to get everything ready. And then Saturday evening, we arrived. Sunday, we spent the day. On Monday morning, I had to drop her off in the English daycare, and she didn't speak one word of English. And I had to drive away to my meetings. And when I was leaving, I still remember she was only 3. She had nobody in that whole country except me. And her hands were pressed on her head against the window. I was driving away, and she was calling. So I still remember that. It's very tough. And I had to go to the office to talk about budgets and stuff. But my daughter turned out to be a great woman. She's 25 now, and we're best friends. So.
Well, this are the tough situation and major challenges in life. When going through all these challenges or new changes, I would say, a lot of time, we tend to question ourselves. And sometimes even have self-doubt. Particularly, sometimes women have quite a lot of self-doubt. But however, how can you always maintain, such a self-confidence and deal with those situations throughout your life? Any tips or advices to us?
I think sometimes it comes from the set of genes, I got to say. So I got to be very, very grateful to my family, my parents. They nurtured me with plenty of love, and I always feel love. So no matter where and how, I have this sense of love, and I always feel everything will work out fine. So that probably comes from within, and of course it can be nurtured. This can be nurtured. This sense of confidence can be nurtured, and surround yourself with confident people and good books, good nutrition. I think the physical confidence will actually also radiate through, and will also give you the mental confidence. So I think it's very, very important to manage your energy and and think positive things. So sometimes you really need that mirror to tell you to embrace whatever you don't have, to embrace your weaknesses and just get over it. So, and then we all have our weakness, it could be our accent, it could be our size.
Yeah, I also agree with you. No matter what is your background, family background or work background, I think this kind of characteristic, accepting ourselves, being peaceful and being loved, at least we love ourselves, can be nurtured. And more important, we love ourselves and believe in our potential, we can be brave to achieve. I think that is the characteristic flaw in some way. Now, coming back, this is Female Leadership Forum. We've seen a great progress was made about women's impact and women leadership over the last few years, particularly during the pandemic, of course, a lot more challenging. However, we still can't deny that in most countries, there are still some cultural or societal expectations of women, and that makes things in life more challenging to us. Growing up in those environments, and even ourselves as a woman can easily have built-in expectations or even unconscious bias on ourselves. Oh, have you encountered such situation? Probably not, given what
I have, believe me.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I think it's not, I think it's unavoidable to have unconscious biases, even for ourselves, even we think we are very, very open-minded. We think we are open-minded, but we have blind spots. You know, we are all shaped by our own background, our history, our own experiences. There are plenty of things that we haven't seen or experienced, and sometimes we may say things or think about things that are totally hurtful and unfair and unjust to others. So I think it's very difficult to avoid, actually to recognize that there are unconscious biases everywhere. Having said that, of course, now we live in a much more transparent and open world. And if we want, there are so many tools out there to help us getting educated and to help us eliminate or reduce those biases. But on the other hand, we talk about technology and AI, and it's sometimes also not really super helpful. AI technology, super helpful, but also sometimes not super helpful. Like, for example, social media, the AI always feed you with information you want to see. So it's like always reconfirming what you want to believe in, and it's not going to help you eliminate those biases. And that's a pity. I think so. Everybody has a role actually to play to help make things better. So in terms of women, it's not really just biases against women. It could be, people look at your name, they already know this person is Chinese, Japanese, Jewish, Islamic, and they already make judgments. So that's why in many companies they do blind resumes even without revealing the name, because name is a big thing. Name is very telling. You know, name and age and gender and religion, all those things, whether you belong to a golf club or not. I mean, there are many unwritten codes. Having said that, if we all only think about those things, then we will be so desperate and pessimistic about life. We cannot. So I think acknowledging those biases and still really like head on go towards that, fight for your chances. And I would say sometimes I know this forum is rewriting the rules, and I was thinking about it. Okay, so I was thinking about you can rewrite the rule, but whether other people will abide by your rule or not, it's up to them also sometimes. So you have the right to rewrite the rule, but they also have the right not to follow. So sometimes it's really also about how to be pragmatic and how to sometimes really also how to expand your rules, expand the rules, not like going black and white, you want that, I want this. To be pragmatic and also expanding the rules actually could also be very interesting to explore.
That's true. And here with Female Leadership Forum, we're actually not saying, well, every woman needs to become a CEO. I think it's more about we writing the rule, but understanding what we want to achieve in our life, what our dreams. Have the bold and guts and, not too afraid like Xiangwei and go for that. It's so important. It's not only that the society needs us to be a housewife or any expectation, but I think one thing, in my opinion, we need to recognize who we are and who we want to be. And that's something we have a strong sense since very young, and you are lucky. All right, so however, a lot of times, and relatively easily, still as a woman, people tend to think of our challenges as women. But I want to put it into a different perspective, as we have this rewriting the rule, right? Have you ever leveraged our female gender uniqueness to deal with challenging situations, to turn the situation around?
Of course, it's a whole package. There are good things about you being a woman, okay? Sometimes you may come across as not threatening. When you may open the door sometimes easily because you are not as threatening. In my case, I'm very small. So you may get opportunities like that. I don't know. People may not be as tough to you because they think, oh, maybe you cannot handle, you're going to cry. So they're not going to be as tough to you versus to another man. But on the other hand, we are talking about a corporate journey, right? Corporate journey. So you know that this is statistic. Well, you know, at least 50% of college students are women, are girls, at least, and graduating also. And then when you enter the workforce, you have probably 50-50 women, men, and maybe even more women. And along the way, they will get, the group of women get smaller and smaller and smaller. And if you look at finance, for example, teams are full of very, very good women, professional women, but their boss probably is a man. And so why? So then come back to that point I just said. As a woman, of course, you know, I care. I really carry it in my face, in my heart, and I show it. I express. I care about the team. I show my love, and I try to be as inclusive as possible, and fairness is also really something that I abide by. But I'm not saying men are not like that. I'm just saying I think this is. I think also there is a feminine. I don't know. Some people said I'm too rough, too tough, but sometimes I don't know. It's okay. As I said, it's a package. I'm me. But on the other hand, fundamentally, I think we talk about leadership. So if you have a big herd of horses, you will follow the strong leader. You will follow the strong horse, the horse that does not look sick, the horse that is runs very fast, the horse that is caring about the team, the horse that looks back about the team, the horse that is very intelligent, and the horse that is willing to work really, really hard and super committed. And so talking about leadership is really not just like I want to be the CEO or not. Being the CEO is a great responsibility because you need to really care for the whole company and your stakeholders, your shareholders, your employees, your customers, and all that. And then you also need to take care of yourself. So being a woman, having all these things, what I said about the woman is you have your chances, but it's not definitely not enough. You still need to, fundamentally, you need to lead. You need to stand out in crucial times. You need to show that you can. You need to show that you want it. Most women at a certain level, myself included, have this soul-searching reflection, like that, do I still want it? It's really tough. Why do I want it? I can just enjoy my life. Why do I still want it? So at the end, I think, do you want it? And that is a very, very, very important question. Do you still want it? And are you willing to give that much to do that?
That's very true. Before we open to the floor for questions to you, Xiangwei, I do have a last question to you. How do you define success, and what success means to you?
They say that success is to achieve what you want, and happiness is that you actually realize what you achieve is actually what you really want. So what you achieve is what you really want, and you achieve what you want is success. So what is success? I think, to me, success is really to be in a very good state of mind and physical presence, mental presence, physical presence, emotional presence, to still feel that you can give, you can still actually contribute fully, and actually also have this optimism that better days are yet to come. So I know it's a long sentence, but it's really to feel great where you are, and you feel there is more to come.
That's good. So a lot of people think success means that we must achieve a lot of money, power, authority. But I like what you said. Success is achieving what you want. This is so important. And of course, with that, we need to have a very good health in order to do that. And thanks for your sharing. A lot of key insight, I dropped down a lot. And then we have 5 minutes or so, and then we open to the floor for the questions. And also I think the first question from Sanjari. So Xiangwei, what is the one message you give to your team in this BANI? Brittle, anxious, nonlinear, incomprehensible time.
Brittle, anxious, nonlinear, incomprehensible. What is the one message you give to my team? My team, I just think my team they are great and they can do it. Even like now in Shanghai, we have gone through a very challenging time in China, in Asia. I have a great team. I just tell them you are great and you can do it. We can do it together. And I think also the company needs us.
Very empowering. Thank you. So anyone from the floor have any questions to Xiangwei? Although she's been mentioning a lot about her mindset, attitude, and her actions, right?
So, I frequently read the conversations about, feminism and things like this. And recently I've noticed that there's sort of a backlash against, Sheryl Sandberg and leaning in and this, they sort of say leaning in is not enough if there are structural obstacles standing in our way, right? So what would you say to that? If structurally, if one person is not enough to change the structural things standing in their way, and just leaning in, it will not get them what they want.
I think that's a very good question, and it's very real. Of course, just leaning in is not enough. There are structural challenges in many societies. We are very lucky, I think, to a great extent here in China. Still, in many countries, women just have been deprived of education from birth. And if they never had the opportunity to see something bigger than their own village, they don't even know how to start. Of course, so that's why really all the movements and whether it's from governments or nonprofit organizations or corporations or individuals, that we all have a role to play and we all can make small changes. So I think it won't happen overnight for sure. It will take a long time to have any real change or impact. So I don't know how to answer this question. Honestly, it's such a big topic. But on the other hand, when we are, all of us, because we are on this forum, we already are miles ahead of the people who are deprived that we are talking about. Those people suffering from structural change. Those people, they are not here today, honestly. So for us, all these people who have choices and all received a very good education and already bilingual, for example, most of us, then to lean in is already a very good step. So I wouldn't say, okay, because the government is not doing anything, the society is so unfair, and corporate, they only promote non-Asian and men, and so therefore, what's the use for me to do more? So I never think that way. So I think that is really something that I fundamentally believe still in the power of choice, in the power of stepping up by ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Xiangwei. Sure, this is a very complicated issue and it takes time to make it. But however, one thing I really agree, each of us, if we can rewrite our own rules, what we believe in ourselves, what we can do and contribute, this is the most powerful thing, because we can't change the world next day and overnight. So let's have the synergy and power that at least within us. We do something for ourselves and the people around us. All right, so now we have one more question. Yeah. So they would like to know, what are the 3 most important advices that you would like to give to the young MBA students?
I don't know if I can give any advice that hasn't been said yet. So I like what the LinkedIn CEO, Jeff Weiner, I think, some time ago, he said he wants to hire 3 kinds of people. He said, the one kind is think big. Okay, think big. You have great ideas. He said, the other kind is get shit done. Get shit done, that you actually move mountains to get stuff done. And the third one is to know how to have fun. So know how to have fun. Fun, why? Because fun is energy. Nobody wants you to go to work and feel like everybody owes you $1 million. So, you know, there are that kind of people who walk in the office and you want to go away because they suck the whole energy, all the air out of the room. So you don't want to be with them. So there at least one thing you can do, even if life sucks sometimes, but you still need to somehow be positive as soon as you walk out of your door. Okay, so of course, if you can put all these things together, I believe that still to think big, get things done, and know how to have fun, which to connect dots. I do think these are very important things, very relevant for me.
I think what you have also mentioned and suggest is not only for women, it's applicable to any gender, all of us, men and women. It's so important. Yeah. But we do still have a question from the audience. What do you think are the main differences? Do you feel the main differences, do you think, between a female and male leader? And yeah, so what do you think?
It's really hard to say. So we do probably, you are familiar with this MBTI test, and then I think probably there are statistics to show what kind of MBTI type profile is more likely to be CEOs, top leaders. And so, and sometimes people say even a woman leader, when she becomes a CEO, she actually also has the profile as the man profile. So I don't know if I cannot answer the question. I can only talk about me. I'm very different with my colleagues. My colleagues tend to be more, you need both types of leaders, because you know, when we talk about DEI, it's not just about men or women. It's really, men can be like soft and gentle and caring, and women can be loud like myself, and sometimes tough also. On the other hand, I think I'm very compassionate. But I don't know if that is just women or it's some women. So if my profile is ENFP. So I'm feeling and prospecting. So normally I have a profile of more like a free thinker, like free-spirited, like artistic, that kind of profile, and that in the corporate world, not so common. So that's why I don't analyze what like this or that and categorically call women leader, men leader. I normally don't do that.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, you always say this, you know, we all come with a package, and this is your package. And everybody do. We have a muscular side and feminine side. And I think based on the context, leaders need to lead, that we suitably use the feminine side or the muscular side. So over the COVID, a lot of empathy, a lot of caring, the feminine side needs to be here to hold the teams together and all that. But we will hear this also from the panel discussion as well. So why don't we save the time and get more panelists to do their sharing and provide an insight and story. What do you think, Xiangwei and everybody?
Yes, that's a great idea. Thank you so much, Polly.
Thank you
everyone for having me.
So that was very inspiring to hear, you know, sharing your personal stories, including the obstacles you've overcome and a lot of the sacrifices that you've had to make in order to reach the success that you have in your team today, as well as how you empower your team through encouragement and empathy, and really helping your team members to realize their full potential and giving credit to them when it's due. So thank you for sharing those valuable lessons.